Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we continue our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7. We finished the chapter 13 yesterday, in which we heard the conversation between the Brahman and Prahlad Maharaj. And it was the last chapter was more specifically dealing with the duties of the sannyasi. Now in this, we're going to hear ideal family life. So Narad Muni is describing all these duties when he was asked by Yudhishthir Maharaj. Chapter 14, we'll read a brief summary by Srila Prabhupada. This chapter describes the occupational duties of the householder according to the time, the country, and the performer. When Yudhishthir Maharaj became very much inquisitive about the occupational duties for the householder, Narad Muni advised him that a grihastha's first duty is to be fully dependent on Vasudev Krishna and try to satisfy him in all respects by executing one's prescribed devotional service. This devotional service will depend on the instructions of authorities and the association of devotees who are actually engaged in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is Shravanam, or hearing. One must hear from the mouths of realized souls. In this way, the Grahast's attraction to his wife and children will gradually be reduced. As for the maintenance of his family, a Grahast, while earning what he requires for his living, must be very conscientious and must not undergo extraordinary endeavor simply to accumulate money and unnecessarily increase in material comforts. Although a grahast should externally be very active in earning his livelihood, he should internally be situated as a fully self realized person without attachment for material gains. His dealings with family members or friends should be performed simply to fulfill their purpose. One should not be extravagantly engaged in this way. Instructions from family members and society should be accepted superficially, but in essence, the grihast should be engaged in occupational duties advised by the spiritual master and Shastra. Specifically, a grihast should engage in agricultural activities to earn money. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 1844, Krishi Gorakshya Vanijyam, agriculture, cow protection, and trade are special duties of grihasthas. If by chance or by the grace of the Lord more money comes, it should be properly engaged for the Krishna consciousness movement. One should not be eager to earn more money simply for sensual pleasure. A grihast should always remember that one who is endeavoring to accumulate more money than necessary is to be considered a thief and is punishable by the laws of nature. A grahast should be very much affectionate toward lower animals, birds, and bees, treating them exactly like his own children. A grahast should not indulge in killing animals or birds for sense gratification. You should provide the necessities of life even to the dogs and the lowest creatures, and should not exploit others for sense gratification. Actually, according to the instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam, every grahast is a great communist who provides the means of living for everyone. Whatever a grahast may possess, he should equally distribute to all living entities without discrimination. The best process is to distribute prasad. A grihast should not be very much attached to his wife. He should engage even his own wife in serving a guest with all attention. Whatever money a grihast accumulates, by the grace of God, he should spend in 5 activities, namely, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, receiving Vaishnavas and saintly persons, distributing prasad to the general public and to all living entities, offering prasad to his forefathers, and also offering prasad to his own self. Grihasthas should always be ready to worship everyone, as mentioned above. The grihasth should not eat anything not offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita 3.13. Yagya Shishta Ashina Santo Muchyante Sarvakil Vishay. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food that is offered first for sacrifice. The Grihast should also visit the holy places of pilgrimage mentioned in the Puranas. In this way, he should fully engage in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the benefit of his family, his society, his country, and humanity at large. So now we'll begin in detail. Text 1. Shri Yudhishthir Uvacha
Shri Yudhishthira Uvacha
Grihastha Etam Padavim
Grahastha Etam Padavim
Vidhena Yena Chanjasa
Vidhina Yena Chandasa
Yaya Deva Rishe Bruhi
Yaya Deva Rishi Bruhi
Madrisho Griha Mudha Dihi.
Madrishu Griha Mudatihi.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Yudhishthir inquired from Narad Muni, O my Lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life may also easily attain liberation according to the instructions of the Vedas. In the previous chapters, the great sage Narad has explained how a brahmachari, a vanaprasth, and a sannyasi should act. He first explained the dealings of a brahmachari, vanaprasth, and sannyasi, because these three ashrams, or statuses of life, are extremely important for fulfillment of the goal of life. One should note that in the brahmachari ashram, vanaprastha ashram, and sannyasa ashram, there is no scope for sex life, whereas sex is allowed in grihast life under regulations. Narad Muni therefore first described brahmacharya, vanaprasth, and sannyas because he wanted to stress that sex is not at all necessary, although one who absolutely requires it is allowed to enter grihast life or household life, which is also regulated by the Shastras and Guru. Yudhishthir Maharaj could understand all this. Therefore, as a grihast, he presented himself as a graha mudha dihi, one who is completely ignorant of the goal of life. A person who remains a householder in family life is certainly ignorant of life's goal. He is not very much advanced in intelligence. As soon as possible, one should give up his so-called comfortable life at home and prepare to undergo austerity or tapasya. So Prabhupada is explaining that first Narad Muni explained the duties of brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyas. Then last he's coming to grihast life. So Prabhupada is explaining that because in brahmachari, vanaprastha, sannyas, there no sex is allowed. The only focus is to engage in spiritual activities, engage in devotional service, think about self-realization, working towards liberation. So in grihast life, sense gratification is allowed, but that should be done according to the regulations which are mentioned in the scriptures. So here Prabhupada is mentioning that one who uh, is completely ignorant of goal of life and one should leave home, should give up comfortable life at home and prepare to undergo austerity or tapasya. So it may not be practical for many at this in this age of Kali, in this modern civilization, to actually leave home. It may not be possible. So what we can do is, as advised by Lord Chaitanya, stay where we are. Stay where we are. Stay in a detached manner. Not get too involved in the family affairs. And focus more on hearing and chanting. Engage more in hearing, chanting, worshipping the deity. Engage more in devotional service. And try to stay a bit detached, not be too attached. Because practically, how can we otherwise practically leave home? So means not be too attached with the matters of the home. And we do some austerity for pleasure of Krishna. Tapo divyam putraka, according to the instructions given by Rishabdev to his sons. We should not create a so-called comfortable situation, but must prepare to undergo austerity. This is how a human being should actually live to fulfill life's ultimate goal. So one may say, oh, we are working so hard. In fact, we want comfortable situation. We want everything to be perfect, very comfortable, very nice. Why Rishabdev is saying it should not be comfortable situation. Well, what do you
Because
say?
if we get comfortable, then we don't want to do anything, and if we get comfortable, then we don't want to get out of this material world. We want to stay here, and then we'll be entangled.
Yeah, that's true. We'll be entangled, and today the situation could be uncomfortable. I'm sorry, could be comfortable. But what about the next life? Just as the Brahman was saying, sometimes I'm sleeping in a bed of soft cushion, sometimes I'm sleeping on the floor, sometimes I'm wearing silken cloth, sometimes I'm going naked. So that we may be comfortable now, but we don't know the future. So then it's better to focus on our spiritual life, focus more on hearing and chanting to to fulfill life's ultimate goal, to revive our love for God. Sri Narada Vacha,
Shri Narada Vachan,
Srina Uvacha
Graheshwa Avasthito Rajan,
Graheshu
Grihishva Avastito Rajan,
Kriya Kurvan Yathochita,
Kriyaha
Kriya Kurva
Kurvanyathochitaha
Kurthochitaha,
Vasudev Arpanam Sakshat,
Vasudev
Vasudev
Arpanam
Arpanam
Sakshat
Sakshad,
Upasita Mahamuni.
Upasita
Upasita
Mahamuni.
Mahamuni.
Narad Muni replied, my dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to earn their livelihood. And instead of trying to enjoy the results of their work themselves, they should offer these results to Krishna, Vasudev. How to satisfy Vasudev in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. So Narad Muni is saying, it's if one is a grahast, one has to maintain himself. Maintain himself, money is needed, so one will earn, one will do some work. So Narad Muni is saying one will do the work, but the result should be offered to Krishna. Krishna also says that in Bhagavad Gita, that you have a right to perform your duty, but you do not have a right to the results of your work. So, but then how to understand that, how to work for Krishna? Because Krishna is also saying in Bhagavad Gita, whatever you do it for me. Whatever you eat, whatever you give away, whatever charity or austerity you perform, O Arjuna, do it for me. So how can we understand?
Hearing from scriptures, listening from the instructions by spiritual masters, taking their guidance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Association of your devotee. Yeah. Okay, the format for Grahast life should be dedication to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who's our center? Who's the center of all our activities? Like how the mother keeps the child in the center, right? The baby is just born. So then the whole house revolves around the baby. Oh, baby's sleeping, let me do my work. Oh, don't make noise, baby is sleeping. Oh, baby's awake, I need to feed. I mean, the whole center becomes the newborn child. So similarly, for us, we need to put Krishna in the center. So in Bhagavad Gita 6.1, it is said, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti ya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragni na chakriyaha. One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. So Krishna is saying, what does renunciation actually mean? He's saying not that somebody is not doing anything, but one who is doing everything and he's not attached to the results of his actions. That person is truly renounced. So whether one acts as a brahmachari, grahast, vanaprastha, or sannyasi, he must act only for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev, Krishna, the son of Vasudev. This should be the principle for everyone's life. So here we are being advised that the center has to be Krishna. No? How can I please Krishna? What can I do to please Krishna? Let me do this to please Krishna. Let me hear so I can please Krishna. Let me chant for Krishna's pleasure. Let me light many diyas for Krishna's pleasure. This month is especially, we are doing the Damodar Ashtakam for Krishna's pleasure. So Narad Muni has already described the principles of life for a brahmachari, vanaprastha and sannyasi. And now he's describing how a grihast should live. The basic principle is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even doing our duty for pleasure of Krishna, let me do my duty properly so that Krishna can be pleased. Somehow the other, because of my past karma, I am in this situation. So let me also do my duties to satisfy Krishna. The science of satisfying the Supreme Lord can be learned as described here. Sakshad Upasita Mahamuni. The word Mahamuni refers to great saintly persons or devotees. Saintly persons are generally known as Munis or thoughtful philosophers concerned with transcendental subject matters. And Mahamuni refers to those who have not only thoroughly studied the goal of life, but who are actually engaged in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. So Prabhupada is explaining that who is a Muni, a philosopher. A philosopher is a Muni. And now who's a Mahamuni? The pure devotee. Because he is not only a great philosopher, but he's also doing. He's acting on the philosophy. Yeah. Like we say, right? Action speak louder than words. So not only is he speaking the philosophy, he's living the philosophy. So these persons are known as devotees. Unless one associates with devotees, one cannot learn the science of Vasudev Arpana or dedicating one's life to Vasudev Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In India, the principles of this science were followed strictly. Even 50 years ago, I saw that in the villages of Bengal and the suburbs of Calcutta, people engaged in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam daily when all the activities ended, or at least in the evening before going to bed. Everyone would hear the Bhagavatam. Bhagavat classes were held in every village, and thus people had the advantage of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes everything about the aim of life, liberation or salvation. This will be clearly explained in the next verses. It's true. Like my granny had her Srimad Bhagavatam. Every day she used to read from there. And then she used to tell us stories from Bhagavatam, like Prahlad, Dhruv Maharaj. She used to tell us the stories. So before, people were in the habit of reading Bhagavatam. As I'm saying, my granny would read every day also Bhagavatam. And then she would tell us what she's reading. Okay. Shanvan Bhagavato Bhikshnam
Shrivan Bhagavato
Shranvan
Abhikshnam.
Bhagavato Abhikshanam
Avatara Kathamritam
Avatara
Avatara Kathamritam.
Kathamritam
Shraddhano Yatha Kalam
Shraddhano
Shraddhano
Yatha
Yatha
Kalam
Kalam.
Upashanta Janavrataha
Upashanta
Prashanta
Janavrittaha
Janavrataha.
Sat Sanjat Chanake Sangam
Sat
Satya
Sanjat
Janake
Janake
Sangam.
Sangam
Atma Jayatma Jadishu
Atmajaya
Atmajaya Atmajadishu.
Atmajadishu
Vimunchen Muchyamaneshu
Vimuccheta
Vimuchyamaneshu.
Munchyamaneshu
Swayam Swapnavat Uttitaha
Swayam
Vayam
Swapnavat
Swapnava Utithaha.
Uttitaha.
Agrahas must associate again and again with saintly persons, and with great respect. He must hear the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, as these activities are described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Thus, one should gradually become detached from affection for his wife and children, exactly like a man awakening from a dream. The Krishna consciousness movement has been established to give grihasthas all over the world an opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita specifically. The process, as described in many ways, is one of hearing and chanting. Shanvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. Everyone, especially the grihasthas who are mudadi, ignorant about the goal of life, should be given opportunities to hear about Krishna simply by hearing, by attending lectures in the different centers of the Krishna consciousness movement, where topics of Krishna from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are discussed. They will be purified of their sinful inclination for constant indulgence in illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, which have all become prominent in modern days. Thus, they can be raised to the status of light, Punya Shravana Kirtana, simply by joining the Kirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And by hearing about Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, one must be purified, specifically if he also takes prasad. This is all going on in the Krishna consciousness movement. So Narad Muni is saying that the grahast, what he has to do, he has to hear Bhagavatam from the devotees. And by hearing Bhagavatam, there will be natural detachment from worldly life, natural detachment to home, wife, children. There's no need artificially to endeavor. Just by hearing more and more about Krishna, one will be like how it said, right? Devotional service. When one does devotional service, then one gets knowledge, causeless knowledge, and detachment. So this is what Narad Muni is saying that the grahas should do. And Prabhupada is saying that the Krishna consciousness movement is facilitating that anyone, everyone, all over the world can come and hear Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And gradually get detached from this material contamination that we have, can get purified of the material contamination, engage in chanting, have prasad, and in this way revive our relationship with Krishna. Another specific description here is Shranvan Bhagavato Bhikshanam Avatara Kathamritam. It is not that because one has once finished Bhagavad Gita, he should not hear it again. The word abhikshanam is very important. We should hear again and again. There is no question of stopping. Even if one has read these topics many times, he should go on reading again and again. Because Bhagavad Katha, the words spoken by Krishna and spoken by Krishna's devotees about Krishna, are amritam, nectar. The more one drinks this amritam, the more he advances in his eternal life. So Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam should be heard regularly, again and again. If suppose there's our favorite movie, for example, so how many times can we actually watch it, you know, without feeling like, okay, enough, I've seen enough of it now. Now I want to see something different. But Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, the more one hears, the more one wants to hear because it's transcendental, it's spiritual. And each time we hear, we find something new. We are like, oh, I never read this before. I read before Bhagavad Gita, but I didn't know this was here. Each time we find something new. So again and again, that is the nature of spiritual topics. They are like nectar, and they're spoken about Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shilpaji.
Hare Krishna.
There was this lecture from Prashant Mukunda Prabhu. I just happened to hear it that he was telling that what um, Bhagavatam parts we should hear on each day of this Diwali. We should read from there. So he had mentioned that for yesterday, he had explained that Dhanteras is not actually about Dhan. It is about Dhanvantri, and from which canto we should reach which part. It was about the churning of the ocean, like when this all had happened, and then how the Dhanvantri had come out with the pot. So he mentioned that we should read that part, and I read that part. And then I was telling the story to Shubh, and because it's a story, right?
Yeah.
How this all happened and everything. So he said, "Oh
Churning
my
of the
God,
ocean, right? At the
churning of
churning
the
of the
ocean."
ocean. Yeah.
Yes. So then Shubh was when I told the story, it's so simple, right? So then he's telling, "Oh my God, so these are the stories that you're reading every day in the morning, what you're doing." I said, "Yes, these are the stories." But so it seems very simple because we just know it as a story, but it has a lot of tattva. That's what I told him, that it has a lot of meaning. Though we read and we tend to forget and we don't remember it, the tattva part of it, and we just know that it's a story, but it is so purifying, we don't know.
Yeah, it's true. It's
So I
true.
said that you might know the story, but you don't know that how much purifying it is for your soul.
Mm.
And especially on that day when it has happened, and like how Dhanvantri ji has come out and what he signifies.
Mm. Nice, very nice. Yeah, very good. Okay. The human form of life is meant for liberation, but unfortunately, due to the influence of Kali Yuga, every day the grahasthas are working hard like asses. It's true, no? I mean, like growing up, I didn't know this human life is meant for liberation. After I got in touch with, after I started reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, got in touch with the devotees gradually, then I'm understanding. Okay, there's something called liberation, you know? So early in the morning, they rise and travel even 100 miles away to earn bread, especially in the Western countries. I've seen that people awaken at 5 o'clock to go to offices and factories to earn their livelihood. People in Calcutta and Bombay also do this every day. They work very hard in the office or factory. And again, they spend 3 or 4 hours in transportation returning home. Then they retire at 10 o'clock and rise early in the morning to go to their offices and factories. This kind of hard labor is described in the Shastras as the life of pigs and stool eaters. Naham Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam Niloke Kashtan Kaman Arhate Vidbhujam Ye. Of all the living entities who have accepted the material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. Bhagavatam 5:5:1. So this is coming in the instructions of Rishabdev. Lord Rishabdev gave instructions to his son. So we need to work. Yes, we need to work, but over endeavor shouldn't be done. And work needs to be done. Offer the result to Krishna. At the same time, hearing and chanting has to be done. One must find some time for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. This is Vedic culture. One should work 8 hours at the most to earn his livelihood. And either in the afternoon or in the evening, a householder should associate with devotees to hear about the incarnations of Krishna and his activities, and thus be gradually liberated from the clutches of Maya. Because somebody may think, oh, how can we, just by hearing about Krishna, how can I come out of the clutches of Maya? How can I get liberated just by hearing about Krishna? Krishna's activities seem to be like ordinary material activities. He's also stealing butter. He's playing with his friends. He's, what is he doing? He is, on Kalia's snake, he's subduing the snake. So, but how can this give me liberation? Somebody may ask that. What do you all say?
It cleanses because he's transcendental. He's not a normal human. He's God himself.
Yeah, that's
So his
right.
name is present. He is present in his name also. When we take his name, it is Krishna Sakshat.
Yeah, so we don't say present in his name, we say he is non-different than his name.
Non-different than his name. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Yes,
non-different.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he's
yeah,
And
non-different than his name. Like if we say Coke, 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 but that's going to make no impact on, like the Coke is not going to come in our mouth in that moment. But if we say Krishna, that means he is there with us in that moment.
yeah, that's
and
right.
his glories attract us, no? When you're saying all these things, it attracts us so much to hear more about him.
Yeah,
Mm.
And that this is his Leelas,
his Leelas. Yeah,
which we can't do.
that's right. Govardhan coming up. Can we pick up the Govardhan hill?
Yeah.
Yeah, Govardhan is coming up. So we can't pick up a Govardhan hill for 7 days. So somebody may say, oh, well, maybe he just has magic. He lifted it up for 7 days. But no, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vedi tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. He's saying my appearance, my janma and my karma, my activities are all transcendental, all spiritual. Just try to understand this and you will get liberation. Bhagavatam is saying, the more we hear about Krishna from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, the more we chant Hare Krishna, then Krishna is the Paramatma in our heart. And he takes away all our false ego and all our dirt which is there in our heart. He cleans our heart and he gives us liberation. Krishna is saying, Devi hi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. He's saying it's very difficult to get liberation. But anyone who surrenders to me can easily get liberated. So if we at all we want liberation, we need to hear about Krishna. Hear as we are doing from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. However, instead of finding time to hear about Krishna, the householders, after working hard in offices and factories, find time to go to a restaurant or a club where instead of hearing about Krishna and his activities, they are very much pleased to hear about the political activities of demons and non-devotees and to enjoy sex, wine, women, and meat. In this way, they waste their time. This is not grihast life, but demoniac life. So, talking about any material person is not going to give us liberation. It's going to entangle us more in this material world. But talking about Krishna gives us liberation. Is transcendental. Krishna's activities are transcendental. His form is transcendental. He is the controller of Maya Devi. So when one surrenders to him, he tells Maya Devi, now you remove your clutches from, let this person go free. And Maya Devi, she is a very obedient servant of Krishna, and she follows his orders. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, with its centers all over the world, gives such fallen and condemned persons an opportunity to hear about Krishna. Okay, how long? Okay, this is a little bit more, so we'll just finish it. In a dream, we form a society of friendship and love. And when we awaken, we see that it has ceased to exist. Similarly, one's gross society, family, and love are also a dream. And this dream will be over as soon as one dies. Therefore, whether one is dreaming in a subtle way or a gross way, these dreams are all false and temporary. So in the night, we are seeing night dreams. During the day, we are seeing daydreams. During the day, whatever is happening, we take it as reality because it's happening for a longer time. But it's all temporary. One day it will finish. We can see so many things are temporary. Now that as we are growing older and older, something which was very dear before to us, now we don't care about that much. Or some relationships were very close before. Now, where are those relationships? With the effect of time, everything deteriorates. So, therefore, these are false and temporary. One's real business is to understand that one is a soul, aham brahmasmi, and that his activities should therefore be different. Then one can be happy. So we have to understand we are the soul. And the more we hear about Krishna, the more we will be able to understand and realize we are the soul. Brahmabhuta prasanatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. One who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward all living entities. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Bhagavad Gita 1854. One who is engaged in devotional service can very easily be liberated from the dream of materialistic life. So we simply have to continue the process, continue hearing and chanting, and one day we will also get liberated, and then we can also engage in pure devotional service. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes. Hare Krishna. I just, on this swapna and that it is being dream, I just wanted to say that there's a friend of mine whose sister-in-law passed away a few days back, and then she went to India, and then they were really disturbed because she was really young, 40 years old only. So when she came back, and then I talked to her, and then she said that, you know, I was just wondering that how much we are endeavoring to collect things whole of our life. And then now she's gone and she hasn't taken a single thing, right? All things are here. Then why are we collecting so much? Who, for whom? What for? She just went in a flash of a second. She had an accident. She died on a spot, nothing else. She didn't even come back home. She went to buy the vegetables. And she was really sad because she said that she had heard a Bhagavatam story for the whole 7 days. And after that, she had started doing Ekadashi and she passed on the Ekadashi. So she was really sad that, and she said that why that happened with her and why she just went. She took nothing. And like now I realize that how we are endeavoring to collect things so much, like how we have been also reading about this with the Sannyasi Maharaj also. So So yeah, life is like that. We can't do anything, but then that gives us more motivation that we are on the right path. Prabhupada has pulled us on the right path. By his mercy, we are on the right path. And we
Yeah.
need to hear and chant. We need to. That is the urgency of our life.
Mm.
And we are forgetting that.
Yeah, it's true. That's all that we will be able to take. You know,
So
that's
that makes more sense, right?
yeah,
That we are doing the right thing. Reading
yes,
about him, serving him, keeping him in the center is the right thing, because none of us will live forever. None of us. And we might pass in any moment. So every time we need to remember him.
yeah, it's true.
It was really sad. Like, I mean, yeah, I felt really sad that for her
Yeah.
and her family, because she had really holded the family quite well, though she was the youngest. But
Mm.
she had holded family really well. So everybody was so much attached to her, and they were disturbed when she's gone. Yes.
Yeah, it's true. We can't take anything material with us.
Yeah.
Only what we can take with us is our hearing and chanting, whatever, how much ever we have revived our relationship with God, with Krishna. You know, that's all that will go with us.
And then only I told her that now you see, you're only telling me that she didn't take anything. So then that means that whatever we are doing, we cannot take, but Krishna, if you're doing anything for Krishna, that you will take with you.
Yeah, it's good. You can tell her. You can tell her these things, and encourage her also to hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Pick up chanting if possible for her to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can explain to her. Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada
Jai,
ki jai, Gaur
Jai.
Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.